Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to my preview of the feature race for this Saturday, which is a standalone mini at Kalgoorlie this Saturday. We haven't had a non-metro Saturday since earlier in the year at Pinjarra, I believe, off the top of my head. But we have that this week in the Kalgoorlie Cup Day meeting, and I've decided to preview the race. It's not my favourite track to bet, Cal, but we're talking about a 2,200 metre race here, so a lot of the sort of nuances of this track are a little bit, I guess, lessened over that trip. Having said that, they're not removed entirely. I'll talk about that first, actually. Basically, at Kalgoorlie, it's a tight home turn and just a medium length straight. If you're in the first few in the running, you've got an advantage, especially over sprint trips. These horses back here in the run really struggle over those shorter trips. And it is the case over the staying trips as well, but not as pronounced. But basically, if you're further back than about 8th in the run over even the staying trip, they were really low strike rate at Kalgoorlie. The tight home bend, they try to get to the middle, they lose a couple of lengths at least, 2 to 3 lengths going around the home bend and getting to the middle because it's such a tight turn. And often the rail is the best ground at Cal. So it can be about being one of these horses here, those short trips especially. It's a little bit more I guess, evened out over this 2,200 metres, but you still want to be on a horse up here on the pace. That makes it harder at Cal to bet because of that map factor being such a big one, and that being something you can't necessarily know in advance exactly what's going to happen on the map. It's a bit more of a guess, whereas ratings aren't a guess. Ratings are their past performances. If you've got an even track, then a lot of the time and over the journey and up to the time, the best horse will win the race. But the map takes over as a significant factor at Kalgoorlie, as it does at some other tracks around the country where they have an inherent bias in their track, or an inherent, I guess, real pattern that they usually play to. And Kalgoorlie certainly is that with these on paces who have been the ones that you want to be on. But I've done the form trying to anticipate who gets the best run. As I said, horses back here will struggle. He's a Parker's a very good horse at his best. He's going terribly in his prep, but even if he's at his best from here, he finds it hard unless he managed to get some miracle run through on the rails, for example. But anyway, that being said, that's my map. Boomalaka probably gets its own lead. Spiritual Warrior on pace, getting a really good run. Gangbuster similar. It's a him. Barriers Rabbit just behind. Up at others just behind there. Touch of Silver has been racing back here, but up to the 2,200 metres, and from a good drawing with Mitch Pateman going on, I hope that Touch of Silver maps slightly closer as he does when he races in town. These ones back here will struggle with it as far as from a map point of view. Let's get to the form. It's a him is the top weight, and is off a 61-day break since finding some really good form, winning at Broome and Darwin. Darwin won the Darwin Cup and got up to its best 107 figure there, which is done a few times back here. Had a 61-day break since, as I said. Prior to this, hadn't won on the turf for quite a while. I think about 2.5 years since it won on the turf prior to this, and is a 9-year-old. I've marked it up at 105.5. Maxwell, I've marked it up at 105.5, makes him $5 chance, $4.90 chance to be there. In the current market, $3.40 favourite. 9-year-old back to the turf, $3.40. I'd be surprised if it started at that price, so we would have thought that would drift a little bit. Had a trial, bit of a quiet one, but yeah, $3.40 for a 9-year-old who hasn't won on the turf in 3.5 years, 2.5 years, whatever it is. But yeah, did win the Darwin Cup, but obviously he appreciates that track, that surface that they've got there in the dirt, Broome, etc. as well. Touch of Silver, I was on recently, Kalgoorlie actually, but it's just been too far back in front here. As I said, you can't get this far back. 13th in the run there, 7th in the run there, and just got too far back over those trips. It was working home well, and it was one of those ones getting out wide and losing ground. With 99, 101 was really consistent through here with his figures going through 104s, 5s and getting 106. Top here, Belmont a little bit back. I think that he can certainly improve on his 101 last time. I think Mitch Pateman, who was on last start, but yeah, retains the right. I think up to the 2,200 metres, I hope at least that he can map a bit closer and be somewhere closer to one. Good draw, 5 middle draw. This one coming over might just hopefully sit outside it. I would be disappointed if I see him back 7th or worse in the run, when you'd think that they'll be trying their best to win here. Mitch Pateman's a really good rider. I've pushed it up to 104.5. They have a top pick at $4.30 as a result. He's $5 currently in the real market with a fair bit. I haven't actually even looked at the other bookies at this stage, but yeah, I'll take $5 about my $4.30 top pick every day of the week. So at this stage, he looks like being a bet. I haven't done any betting yet, but yeah, we'll see what happens between now and then. I don't think he'll be heavily backed anyway. Having said that, if it's a him does drift, a touch of silver might be one who comes in. He was $4.70, $3.75 in these runs leading into this one. He's probably not going to change much. Yeah, if he trimmed in below my 430, I'd be surprised. Anyway, moving on to the third run, which is Caesar Parker, the runner I mentioned before. Back here, he was flying in 107, where he bolted in Bunbury this day, won the Pinjarra Cup 108. Was able to win with lower figures when he was coming from well back there. Scott, it's a hard thing to do there. And yeah, what's that? 1.5. Those yellow lines are the highlighted the wins, the highlighted. And yeah, had a really good prep, but this prep has not shown anything like that, and it's just been plugging away. So it's hard to really mark him up anywhere near those figures. Over 101 is $16 chance, $21 in the real market. You know, the silly thing is, if he somehow came out and did 108, he'd win. But so he's 20-1 just because of how his form's dropped off. It's hard to sort of work out what the figure is to give them based on the fact that they could do something a lot more than what you're actually giving, but also with the map being well back there makes it tough. The fourth horse in the race is Gangbuster, who is going to get a pretty good run on paces as he has been lately often. He's been racing really well at Cal. He's winning 3 of his last 5, as you can see. Rating 99, 99, a couple of flat ones, 99 again, 100 back here. So he's obviously another 100 back down here. He's obviously the horse who's pretty much max at that 9900. He mapped well on pace. He could draw an 11, but Jade McNaught, you'd think, would have him pushed forward, and I really can't see anything holding him, but I don't think he'll end up wide. I think Boomerlack and Hugh Gangbuster's got enough pace to either get outside the lead or, in this case, just one back to the lead. That's why I've been happy to mark him up to 99.5 and having very close to his top. Having said that, still only makes him a $13.80 chance. I don't think he's got more than 100 in him, so he would need the race to rate low. He would need, therefore, some of these other ones like Touch of Silver and like Fates of him, for example, not to do those figures they can do for 100. If he went to that, best at 100. For 100 to win, they would have to not do those figures. So that's what he's relying on. $14 chance, $16 here in the real market. Barry's Rabbit, he's going really well back here at Esperance. Last prep, EBY is Esperance Bay. 97s, 98s. Yeah, I think he's very consistent. I've actually marked him up beyond those at 98.5. Still makes it a $16 chance. Craig Newitt going on plus. That was part of the reason for marking him up. And he maps pretty well as well. But that makes him a $16 chance, and that's what he is in the real market as well, $16. And the fact is also, as with Gangbuster, Barry's Rabbit will probably need one of those other really highly rated ones to not do their best in order to win. Boomerlacker and that's the best in the race. That's one positive there. He gets a lead, and Barry 1 should be his own easy time in front for Kira Yule, but just doesn't have the figures. It looks too hard for him, unless it's a mad bias. So I guess that's what he's got going for him. If it was a mad Kalgoorlie rail lead bias, then I keep going like some of those Derby winners have done at Flemington over the years. But in the absence of that, he should get run down. Dark Prospects, he's in consistent form this prep, but he hasn't got back to these figures he's got last prep. And so I've marked him around that mark that makes him for me a $37 chance. The interesting thing is he's only about a $10 chance in the real market, but he hasn't been getting back to his best. And so also with the map, he's all the way back here, he settles back in the field, as you can see. And so with him dropping back there, if he does get this far back, it's pretty hard to get out here. One of those ones pulling out and losing ground around the home turn, which is not ideal. Sorry, I can't get top of it. So yeah, I'm much different to the market there. The market has $10 chance. I'm $37. First Affair is a genuine chance, but I think the market's pricing them really pike factor too much on this horse. Maps okay, even though he's got 10 maps okay. I haven't dropped them in anyway. Of course, something could happen. Of course, the amount 3 wide, and Pike might end up too far back or something like that. So at $4.60 currently in the real market, I think she's probably a bit under the odds. Pretty consistent form. I've marked Marked her up to 100. Last up was pretty good. Marked her up to 100 with top 101. So that makes her $8.50 chance. And yeah, it's a stay up into $4.60 unders there. Pike will need to pull out a magic ride, I think, to get her home. Inject the Venom, another roughie who just doesn't have figures to here, not in great form. Spiritual Warrior is right in the market. He's actually $3.70 second favourite at the moment, and for good reason. He's won his last three, and then had a little bit of a quiet trial since that. 102, 101s was very solid, very genuine in those wins. 100, somewhere between 101 and 103 is his top, and he maps ideally just box seating behind the lead there. I ended up with 101 made him a $5.50 chance, and that makes it a really solid chance in the race. $3.70, obviously can't be backing him at that price. My slight query was he's had 28 days off since this run here for a 2200 meter race, I should say. I don't like them having 4 weeks off leading into that, really. So that was a slight negative for me, which is why I didn't mark him all the way up at his top. And the last horse up with others, he's racing, well, just okay this prep, and has better figures last prep, but has been fine. Ended up at 97 and $37 chance, $51 chance in the real market. And what that gives me at the end is my final prices there. If I scroll down, these are my top few here. Touch of Silver is a $4.30 chance for me. As I say, $5 in the real market means qualifies as a bet. It's a him, $4.90 for me, $3.40 real market. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he didn't drift. Spiritual Warrior on 560, solid chance. Lucy Warrior going to get a great run. Yeah, if it wins, I can see why. But at the price I wouldn't be on, unfortunately. And First Affair I didn't like as much as the market did. So Touch of Silver at this stage looks like being the play for me, as these are down here are similar to the market. So yeah, it looks like it's being something like Silver at this stage. And hopefully Mitch Pateman does the right thing and doesn't settle back here, but settles up there and gets the right run and finds us 105, 106. It'll be awfully hard to hold out. Thanks everyone, and have a great day on Saturday.